Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone to Sister Wives with Mary Jane K. Today, I'll be giving my commentary on Sister Wives, Season 19, Episode 19, Behold, I Come Like a Thief. Before I even watch the episode, my mind, of course, goes to Robin and her Kotex, and I'm assuming that's who the title is referring to. I like it. I think it's fitting. Behold, I come like a thief. The episode opens with Janelle over at Maddie and Caleb's house in North Carolina. Janelle is working out her financial stuff and she's putting together documents for her lawyer. So there's work to be done. And Janelle never shies away from a big task, as we have seen over the years. Janelle was always ambitious, always had a very strong work ethic. And just as Christine cared for the home and the kids back in the day, Janelle went out and she worked. She really served as a primary breadwinner for the family a lot of the time. And Cody and the wives, of course, supplemented that, even though Cody controlled all of the money. Janelle seems very motivated. She isn't afraid of being inconvenienced to accomplish something the way lazy Kotex and his goblin are. They love to live off the backs of others with seemingly zero appreciation for that sacrifice. So Janelle isn't that way. And Janelle makes it clear that there has been zero progress on Coyote Pass. There has been a second email suggesting they sell, but so far there has still been no movement. So Janelle is compiling everything she needs, all the documentation, all the receipts she needs to explain to the lawyer what happened as far as the payment on the land. She has to prove it was really all of their joint funds that paid the bulk of the property. So therefore, since it was from the joint funds, they should be entitled to split this 4 ways, despite how it is titled on the land. Everyone paid an equal fourth. Everyone should be entitled to equal. So Janelle is going to go out of her way to make sure that Mary doesn't get screwed herself as well. As we recall, Cody was really trying to screw Mary by having her pay an equal quarter and then only titling her on one small 2-acre piece of land plus him and an ex-sister wife. So Janelle is making sure, despite the titles, despite who's on what piece and the deeds and the separation, that everyone gets what they invested, their equal, fair share. Because she knows Cody's character and that he could potentially be capable of screwing she and Mary. Janelle saw what was happening, but she says she trusted it would all ultimately work out. Looking back now, though, she feels very dumb. She wonders why she didn't insist that they were all titled on all the pieces. Janelle feels she was far too trusting, and she doesn't know why the land pieces were titled the way they were. She says it made sense at the time for Cody's name to be on all of the titles, on every single title, as the unifying factor, of course. At the time, he was the mutual husband of all of them. So Janelle wants to be done because this is the only thing that still ties her to Cody and Robin. She wants to be done. She is ready to close this chapter, understandably so. I really hope Janelle and Mary get their fair share, and I hope it goes quickly and expedited because they both deserve to move forward with zero loose ends, walking away with no regrets, with nothing holding them back, never having to look back, only having to look forward, never again having to deal with Robin and Cody's toxicity. On to Salt Lake, Christine, now titled as the ex-polygamist on the show, is headed to her new home with David to show him the house for the first time in Moab. So they have a truck full of furniture to unload, and Christine is very excited for the adventure. She feels owning this short-term rental is a very big deal. Years ago, when Christine was still married to Cody, she really wanted a bed and breakfast, and she wanted each room to have a theme. Cody was never interested, of course, but David is very invested. David is very supportive of Christine and her aspirations. David really wants a shrimp-themed room. Christine wants a giraffe-themed room. Now, I think David wants a shrimp theme, probably referencing Kotex's shrimp deck. Because when David says he wants a shrimp theme, Christine is trying desperately hard not to laugh. But he does. He wants a shrimp room. Christine says David is always full of ideas, and she thinks sometimes he just throws things out to catch her off guard. Christine is grateful that David is this involved. So when David wanted a shrimp room, Christine agreed. No problem. So David says the idea came from an animated movie. It was really cute and it just popped into David's head. So that's what he wants. And Christine's going to have her giraffe room. Giraffes are her favorite animal. She finds them to be awkward and graceful at the same time. So Christine is changing her name legally to Wooly. She changed her name to Brown legally years ago. She had that name for decades, but she loves taking on David's name. She points out how supportive David has been, and she feels with him, she is just much more productive as a person than she ever was with Cody. Of course, David isn't intimidated by Christine's confidence. David uplifts Christine. Cody put her down. Cody made Christine feel like she was never good enough, like she didn't matter as much as his other wife. When you're loved and you're supported and you're in a really good relationship, it really does lift you up and make you the best version of yourself. And the other person also becomes the best version. That's how you know that it's right. If the person you're with makes you feel down, it's not right. It's not love. Do they elevate or do they denigrate? Christine remembers her past move to Vegas. She recalls how the family hit 3 potholes. They blew 3 tires on the way. It was a clusterfuck. And now she and David happen to be driving on that same road. She's showing David the home she owns, the short-term rental she owns that she went and found and bought by herself. She's taking David to see that home. She's now a businesswoman, and they're driving that same road that she drove to Vegas. She is feeling how everything is a circle in life. And she remembers the panicked move, the crazy clusterfuck, the chaos. And she feels if they needed a sign from God that they weren't supposed to move, they would have received that about 10 times during that move to Vegas. There were so many hiccups. Maybe they should have listened. I wonder what state the family would be in now. Although with Cody's personality, I don't know that it would have made a difference. So they flash back to Cody's anger during that clusterfuck of a move from Lehigh to Vegas. And Christine says now it feels like another world. She likes doing her thing now. She trusts doing her own thing. She trusts herself. And she trusts David too. Christine isn't the same person she was when she moved from Lehigh to Vegas. She's a whole nother woman now. So David is so excited to share this with Christine. And Christine looks so happy. And she says this is perfect. Over on Coyote Pass, Cody is taking Goblin Spawn and Goblin to paint these picnic tables. These two always seem to be grasping at straws to find something to film, to make them relatable, to make them likable. And it's usually filler bullshit. No one gives a fuck to watch Aurora's ear piercing at 20. No one gives a fuck to see Robin's girls looking for churches just to find boys. Robin is trying her best to be relatable. She wants to be a staple on the show. Robin sobbing on her bathroom floor. Cody and Robin's date to discuss their 20-plus-year-old daughter going to church. None of it is interesting. None of it is relevant. It's filler. It's boring. And I really think this season could have been done in 10 flowing, fast-moving episodes versus stretching this out, flashbacking over and over and over, re-repeating the same bullshit. I would rather see 10 decent episodes a season than a bunch of junk in between just to place ads to waste the viewer's time. I think it's kind of insulting, it's tired, and it's getting boring. So now we're literally going to watch paint dry on these old, dried up picnic tables that Robin and her kids paint just because they need the TLC paycheck. Come up with something interesting for fuck's sake. Don't waste our time. So we learn that the tables are a really big deal because Robin's dad made them. These tables are handmade, and the tables are a connection for Robin to Grandpa Paul. Cody isn't teaching the kids how to do this, but he says he's just using their labor to get it done. Are they getting allowance or are they working for free? Robin's dad built these tables soon after they moved into the homes in Vegas. So they're about a decade old. And of course, Robin, the daredevil on the four-wheeler, is worried about their sturdiness. She's worried about them being safe. Who gives a fuck about tables? Seriously. So Robin talked to her dad about making these tables for each of the backyards for the family gatherings in Vegas. Wow, it's so special, so heartwarming. Now, Robin says these tables were for the family to sit and visit and gather together. I don't know, Robin. I think this is just a huge stretch. It's very desperate. It's very desperate to tie this back to the family. The tables Robin requested her father make, she has now twisted to be about the family, to make it about sitting and gathering, to talk about that again, to talk about her feelings about that again, when we all know by the time of the cul-de-sac, even though Robin and Cody like to rewrite history and look back on it fondly, it wasn't a great time for Cody's other wives. By the time of the cul-de-sac, Cody already started spending a lot of his time at Robin's house as he began to pull back from Janelle and Christine, and he was already almost completely detached from Mary as a husband. Robin's trying to twist these tables into being about the family. She wants to seem relatable, like she's all about the family because she's sentimental that her father made these tables. It's so fucking twisted. For all we know, the wives asked for backyard furniture for tables big enough for the family, and Robin probably wanted to save money for herself and her kids since she's legal wife, and she knew she was angling for that, and she said, oh, my father will just make them on the cheap, for all we know. This is crazy how she tries to twist everything to be sentimental and to be about the family. Oh, Robin's wearing her Mama Bear t-shirt. The shirt should say Mommy Dearest instead. So Robin says these picnic tables were for the family for sure. It's all about the family, guys. And this means a lot to her because her father made these tables with his own two hands. She says her dad would just love to see them all working together as a family on the tables. And her dad was just all about getting the family together. He loved family projects. Her dad even walked Coyote Pass and he thought it was amazing. Her dad was a surveyor for the city of Las Vegas. Ding, ding, ding. Her dad was a surveyor for the city of Las Vegas. Now do you guys see why they picked Vegas? Robin wanted this. This is why they chose to move to Vegas after Utah. Robin inspired that move. Robin wanted to be near her father. She didn't give a fuck about the emotional well-being or the stability of the rest of the family and uprooting them. They didn't move because they were threatened by separation. In my opinion, these people moved because of Robin. The kids were uprooted for Cody and Robin because Robin wanted to be close to her father. And on the show, they made a huge storyline of, being forced to flee, knowing the investigation wasn't going to result in any familial separation. Robin says they brought her dad out to Coyote Pass to help do some surveying. He was looking at the different boundaries, and she says her dad was the type to think about what a piece of land would do, the sound, where the roads would come in. So this feels like a complete circle for Robin. Now that she's come full circle, does she still have her identity crisis? Mama Bear is worried. She doesn't know how sturdy the tables are. She has doubts. She doubts Cody. Cody thinks they're fine. She freaks out and she gets scared to death when Cody flips a table. It hits a rock, it makes a noise, and she fears the table is just going to disintegrate in Cody's hands between his fingers. She's scared Cody's going to destroy them. This divine love they have has so much trust. Relatable Robin wants to tell us about her past, and she remembers before Paul was dad to her, she knew her dad, who she refers to now as dad, as Uncle Paul. I think it's kind of sick. Would her mom date her brother? You're calling this man Uncle Paul. It's kind of sick. And then the mom marries him and then she gets to call him dad. I feel like it's weird to call him Uncle Paul, but maybe in that culture, she would one day. Everybody's related in that culture. So mom married Uncle Paul and Uncle Paul became dad. So Robin clarifies that Paul wasn't her actual uncle, of course. He and her other mom were family friends before her dad married her mom. He was already married to Robin's second mom. So basically, Paul's first wife was friends with Robin's mom, and then she married Paul as well, and they were sister wives. But her mom was friends with her sister wife before she married her husband. So one day, Paul's first wife went to her mom. She asked him about Paul, if she thought Paul was a good guy. Her mom was single. So it worked out. And Robin's mom and her biological father had been divorced for a while by then. So her mom married Paul. He came to her mom's house on weekends, and he was in Vegas with her other mom during the week. So Robin remembers every Saturday her dad would have some project for them to do. And Robin has very sweet memories of them all working together as a family. So now we know how Robin became the toxic person that she is. There seems to be a lot there. I'm not going to unpack it. So Cody really liked Paul. Cody seems to have really respected Paul. Cody says Paul was Robin's safe place. And when he was gone, the world just didn't feel safe for her. Cody really enjoyed Paul. He loved his company. And Robin says Paul also loved Cody. He told him stories nobody else in the family knew. So Cody had very special moments with Paul as well. And Robin says Cody had a great relationship with her dad. And she breaks down remembering those times. Robin says Cody really respected her dad, so she knows that's part of why Cody wants to help do this. Imagine if Cody respected his kids and put the same amount of attention into respecting Paul and these old-ass tables that he did with his kids and these lives he created that he neglects to do this bullshit with Robin and her kids. These people are cringe AF. When they get done painting these tables, they all shout yeehaw in unison. Something about these freaks really just reminds me of the Duggars. They're creepy, they're weird, they're cringe, inauthentic. I don't know. Ugh, I just don't like it. Back in Greenville, North Carolina, Janelle has a video call with Mary. Mary is at a place where she just really wants to solve the property. Janelle and Mary are on the same page, and they had a conversation where, of course, Janelle went to Mary's house when she first told Mary that she should get a lawyer to protect herself. Mary didn't know what to do with that info. It didn't go over well. It was very awkward. And Mary told Janelle she just didn't think there was a need for protection. Back then, at that point, Mary really felt they all had each other's backs as far as the property. And Janelle told her no, it wasn't like that. They didn't all have each other's backs. But since then, Janelle and Mary talked, and now Mary realizes she might need to do something. Thanks to Jen. It's a really good thing Mary has a wonderful support system around her that really has her back. Also, thanks to Janelle, of course, who has been very helpful and instrumental to Mary opening her eyes and getting her fair share as well. Janelle knows if she and Mary are on the same page, it makes the case stronger for both of them. So Janelle thinks it's time. She says before Robin joined the family, they were together for like 17 years. And she says a sister-wife relationship is very challenging. And when their personalities are so different, it's even more so. She feels part of that strife for embracing this lifestyle, plural marriage, is to learn how to get along and how to be a team. She says she and Mary, they weren't besties, and they still aren't friends. They don't hang out, but there is no ill will there, and there never has been. They just weren't ever really friends. So Janelle says Mary for a long time belonged to the Cody, Robin, and Mary camp. So for a really long time, Janelle didn't cross paths with Mary. There wasn't a reason to. But now there is communication about what they need to do as far as the property. And they're really both in the same position, in the same boat right now. So Janelle and Mary do a video chat. And Mary says the thing with herself and Janelle is that they have known each other longer than she has known Cody. Of course, because Janelle was married to Mary's brother before they divorced. And then she later married Cody. And I just want to point out, Janelle and Mary's brother were divorced when they attended Mary's wedding. Janelle didn't divorce Mary's brother just to marry Cody with that intention. Do I still think it's gross? Fuck yeah. But Janelle didn't do anything underhanded, in my opinion, or anything like that. And after the divorce with Mary's brother, Janelle remained very close to the family. So Mary says she and Janelle, they've had their issues over the years, and they flash back to a scene of Mary saying that Janelle talked to Christine and Cody about not wanting her to have the piece of property by the pond. This was the fiasco where everyone was worried if Mary got that property, if she would give access to the family to swim in the pond. So in this flashback scene, Janelle says that she would be worried about Mary getting angry. And she recalls Mary slamming doors in Lehigh when they all lived together, when Mary would get very angry. And the whole house would know she was angry. It would scare the kids. And Mary laughs at that as Janelle worries that Mary might decide that no one can go over to access this pond should she have that piece of land. Now, first of all, it's not a pond, for fuck's sakes. It's a drainage ditch filled with prairie plague infested dirt for runoff. It's a glorified drainage ditch filled with prairie plague. But I guess it sounds more glamorous to call it a pond. Now, Mary says now she feels like she and Janelle are doing okay. They're doing an okay job having these conversations. They have a common cause. And Mary isn't holding out hope that one day she and Janelle are going to have this great besties relationship just because they're both divorced now from Cody. Mary doesn't hold her breath, but she believes that she and Janelle can work together and be adults about this. Now, Janelle saw the email that Mary sent Cody, and Mary says she sent the email a while back to Cody, Robin, and Janelle just to start the conversation of this property, of what they want to do, because she hasn't been a part of any conversations about the land, and she doesn't know if anybody else has been talking about it, but she hasn't been talking about it, and she hasn't been included. And she really wants progress on this, as does Janelle. So Janelle tells Mary that Cody acted like he had something going on, and then when they question him, he just backs down, he backpedals, he'll ignore. So Janelle doesn't know what's true. Janelle says there have been a few emails from Cody. The first email was suggesting that they divide this land in this really weird way. One plot would be 6 acres and 4 acres. And then the second email said that he and Robin wanted to sell. It's a bunch of blah, blah, blah. By the end of this episode, Cody was all up in his feelings and emotions, thinking maybe he wanted to keep one piece of the land. So Mary doesn't think Cody gets to decide what they do with the land. Mary says sorry, but he isn't the head of her family. Mary feels that Cody and Robin probably have some plan of what they want to do with the land and how they want to handle it. And she thinks Janelle also has some sort of plan. But Mary knows she does have a plan too, but none of them are talking with each other because none of them trusts each other. There's no trust. Everyone has their own plans. Nobody's talking. So Janelle tells Mary she thinks it's time for somebody to be pushing her interests. She's getting a lawyer. She has already been talking to someone. And Janelle advises Mary that she hopes that she does the same. Mary is going to be getting a lawyer too, and she knows it's been 1.5 years since the last time she had that conversation with Cody about the land. And there's been a lot of confusion surrounding the way things have been done in the family, the way that Cody is with her, with how he has been with her for many years. Mary thinks that she needs a lawyer. She's getting a lawyer. She doesn't trust Cody or the way he's behaved over the decades. So she's getting this lawyer to help her through this process. She feels for quite a few years she has just sat back, not wanting to ruffle feathers. She hasn't pushed the issue on so many things. But she says she will push the issue now. Yes, Mary, yes, push. So Janelle's lawyer suggested that it would be good for Mary to have her own firm her own separate lawyer. So Mary's going to lawyer up too, and Janelle is glad because Janelle really wants things done fairly and she wants things done in a timely manner. Janelle knows Cody could drag his feet if he wanted to. And in my opinion, he could drag his feet intentionally if he wanted to, because he's an asshole. Mary says that's why she gave Cody a deadline to start this conversation. And Janelle tells Mary she did a really good job because today is that day. They both look really happy about this, and I think it's awesome that both Janelle and Mary are lawyering up. I guarantee you, Kotex and Goblin were not expecting this. I think they want to rob Janelle and Mary blind. They want to get away with what they can one last time, and I think if they could, they would. Janelle is so glad that Mary understands that it's wise to have a lawyer because she says they aren't a family anymore. And Janelle says now it's people just trying to dissolve a business that went bad. Mary says she has always felt like their family was supposed to be a team, but right now she feels like there is no team. There is the Christine and Janelle team, and then of course there is the Cody and Robin team. But Mary doesn't want to be on anybody's team. So Janelle again warns Mary how dire the situation is, that especially for Mary, there is no protection. Of course, Mary paid an equal fourth of the land value to pay it off, but she is only on one small piece, and she would only get a third of it because two others are on that small piece of land on the title with her. So Janelle explains that Mary would only get a third of one of those small pieces, and that isn't fair because she paid an equal fourth. She explains that because there aren't a lot of legal agreements and there were family relationships, they have a lot to stand on. Mary agrees. She says there was a lot they did because they were a family. And at that time, when they purchased the land, they were all still together. So Janelle talked to her lawyer about that, and he feels they can present something there. There's something there because they paid for the land out of that family account. The family account they all pitched into. And Mary agrees that they all paid for the land equally. It was an equal fourth for everyone, regardless of how the titles are configured. So Cody, of course, disagrees. He says they didn't all pay for Coyote Pass equally, and he insists he paid for an entire lot all by himself. Oh, did he put his big boy panties on to do that? Oh, wow, Cody. And then Cody backpedals and he says he paid for at least 92% of it, and the rest of the property they all chipped in on. So Cody's acknowledging there's an 8% of that one piece he says he paid for all by himself that didn't come from him. Cody's lying. If his lips are moving, he's telling untruths. Now, Mary says she honestly has no idea why it was set up the way it was. She wasn't involved in that process. She doesn't know who was. But when they bought the land, it was on 4 different parcels, and Cody is on every single parcel. Robin is on 2 of the parcels, and she is only on one of the smaller parcels, sharing it with 2 other people. Again, Mary paid the same amount as everyone else. Maybe Mary should ask Cody why he's trying to be an opportunistic weasel, a shyster. Mary remembers when they brought the property asking, why is it that she is only on this property? And of course, Cody got upset. He had a big issue with the fact that she was questioning it. Don't ask questions now. Keep sweet. Mary wanted Cody to help her understand this. And she says because she asked him questions, she became the problem. Because she asks questions, she is the problem. Anyone who dares to be inconvenient is a problem for Cody. Cody expects these women, or he expected these women, to let him dictate everything. He expected them to submit to everything, to question nothing, and to just blindly accept being shafted with no lube up the ass. These are the mothers of his children, and he knew he was doing these women dirty. He knew he was doing Mary dirty when he put her on the title with 2 other people, knowing she was paying an equal fourth. Why didn't Cody in the first place get this done right? He's had way over a year. Why wasn't this already accomplished? It's really not cute to hold these women's financial security over their heads. He's holding the financial security of the mothers of his children over their heads, stretching it out, making it intentionally frustrating, making it intentionally painstaking, hoping they'll throw their hands up to let him shaft them again, one last time, taking all he can. It's not happening. Not when there's legal documentation and lawyers involved now. Do you guys see how Cody emotionally manipulates these women? Mary would ask questions about her investment this quarter, this large sum of money she paid to put into this land, and why her name was only on one small piece with 2 other people. And Cody made it a big issue. Cody got angry. They weren't allowed to ask questions. If you ask questions, then you're a problem. If you ask questions, then you're inconvenient. If these were real life business partners and Cody treated them this way, there would be lawsuits galore up the ass. No wonder he has so many failed businesses. He's not a professional. He doesn't act as a businessman. Look at Cody's pattern. When Mary would ask questions, Cody made her the problem. When Janelle would bring up paying off the land years ago, Cody would try and emotionally manipulate her, warning her, if you bring it up, I'll get angry. These women weren't allowed to ask questions. Their thoughts, their opinions didn't matter to Cody. He didn't lose a wink of sleep being opportunistic with the mothers of his kids, living off them, taking all he could off of what rightfully should be theirs. Cody puts himself first. He comes before his wives. He comes before his kids. He comes first. Robin is going to realize one day that she and her kids are no exception, but by then, she'll be the legal wife. She has legal rights to half of everything, and she would have already found a better man at the church. Now, Mary tells Janelle this is stuff she has seen happening for years, and it's hard for her to acknowledge because she thought they were all better than that. I think she thought Cody was a much better man than that. Now, Mary feels like the last decade of her life, she has been living this with, I don't know, I have no idea. It looks one way. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Things seem a way and then they're twisted. Is it this? Is it that? So Mary wonders if Cody, the used car salesman, the long con guy, had this all planned out way ahead of time, all the way back when she and Cody did the legal divorce back in 2014. If he wanted this monogamy with Robin way back when. And I think Mary hit the nail on the head. Mary reflects back on the legal divorce in 2014. And she says she knows why she did that legal divorce. She knows where her heart was, but she doesn't know where anybody else's heart was. I truly believe when Mary divorced Cody legally, it was for Cody to adopt Robin's kids. Mary sacrificed that for the larger family. She selflessly gave up her legal marriage for the kids. And I think Robin, of course, wanted it for herself and her financial security. And I believe she angled to be legal wife from day one. And Christine and Janelle confirmed it by recounting how Robin used to bring up stories of a first wife divorcing her husband so that he could marry the second wife and adopt her kids. In my opinion, from the time Robin was courting Cody, all she cared about from day one was financial security for herself and her kids. And I also think she really liked the idea of fame in a TV show as well. And I think that's why she married Cody. And I think Mary knows Cody has always wanted to rid himself of his obstacles to his goals in life. Goal, of course, being monogamy with Robin. And I think Mary and the ex-wives and the kids have all seen how Cody intentionally pushed everyone out using the pandemic as an opportunity. And so now Mary looks back on everything. She looks back on the legal divorce and she sees the whole forest, not just the trees. And she wonders about Robin's intentions. And she looks back and she wonders about Cody's intentions. And she wonders about everyone's motivations. And I think Mary's heart was really in the right place. And I think Cody and Robin saw that and they used that to manipulate the fuck out of her. And I think it was very cruel. I think they took every opportunity they could before hanging Mary out to dry. Cody and Robin even took the Vegas home proceeds from Janelle and Mary to secure the Goblin's lair. Cody all the while knowing soon he'd hopefully be free of them. Before Cody cut Mary and Janelle loose, he made sure to pluck every last cent off that money tree. Because of things Cody has said since the legal divorce, it makes Mary wonder. She really didn't think that Cody was capable of something like that. So when people suggest that to her, she always says she doesn't think that was the case. But to herself, she thinks privately, oh wait, maybe Cody's that malicious. Janelle has had her suspicions that Cody is doing something and that he doesn't want them to know about it with the land. So Janelle feels like Cody has two speeds. Either he ignores her when she asks about the property, or he is really gung-ho about it. And when he's gung-ho, that really raises her suspicions, and it makes her wonder why. Why now? Janelle says in theory, Cody could do whatever he wanted with the property that he and Robin are on. And she feels it would be really mean of Cody to insist on just keeping that property and then having to sell the rest, or him having to buy them out or whatever when he can't really afford it. But she feels it would be really mean. It would stretch it out longer and longer and longer. But Cody could do that. He could decide to just keep his piece and sell the rest, and that would make it even more complicated. So Janelle knows it would be mean, but that Cody might do that. And by the end of the episode, Cody's considering just that. So Janelle hopes Cody hasn't become that person, but she doesn't know who Cody is anymore. She doesn't recognize who this guy is. Cody insists he is working on this. He isn't rushing, but he says bitterly that he isn't their servant to boss around. He says they are wanting him to do something for them that they could work on themselves. They could do the footwork themselves. But the reality is legally they can't do anything without him. Just like legally he can't really do anything without them. Their hands are tied until Cody takes his head out of his ass, grows some balls, and talks to them, where they all decide on each step as professionals, where they all get through each step of this together. Cody is trying to handle this without them because he doesn't want the inconvenience of dealing with them. And he is also avoiding them intentionally just to aggravate them, just to prolong this, in the hopes that in the end they'll just be so frustrated that they will just capitulate to his plan and whatever he wants to do. Is Cody finally going to adult when he has to deal with Mary's lawyer and Janelle's lawyer? At that point, does he put his big boy panties on? I don't fucking know. Cody isn't doing these ladies a fucking favor by dealing with the land. Cody acts like he's doing them a favor. Let's be clear. These women are all invested equally. They all spent an equal fourth on this land, regardless of the configuration of the titles. They are still equal business partners. And if these weren't Cody's ex-wives, and if Cody was ignoring actual business partners and professionals, Cody would be in a world of legal hot water by now. Cody seems to think the women will just get so frustrated that they won't stand up for themselves, that they'll just throw their hands up and he'll call the shots and he'll get things done his way where he gets the most out of it that he can. He thinks if he just holds out long enough, that it's all going to work out in his favor and the women will just give up. Cody isn't accounting for lawyers. He doesn't seem to think these women will fight for what's right. And he's treating this like he's doing them a favor. He's holding this over their heads when really it's business. And that just shows the level of immaturity, unprofessionalism, low intellect, and resentment we are dealing with Cody. Enjoy dealing with Mary and Janelle's lawyers, dickface. Cody is absolutely pathetic, acting like he's doing them a favor when this is business. This is legally binding. Cody's acting like it's a joke. He's a fucking joke. No wonder so many of Cody's businesses failed. No wonder Cody's family failed. No wonder he doesn't have solid relationships with most of his kids. Look at the type of man Cody is. Look at how inadequate he is to lead or even conduct basic business. It's no surprise so many businesses failed with Cody at the helm. His ego will always be his downfall. His uncontrolled emotions and mental state will always be his downfall. Chaos doesn't bring results. And in my opinion, Cody's life, the mess it's in, is a reflection of his chaotic mental state. Cody isn't that interested in doing this favor for Mary and Janelle, he says. Again, it's not a favor. What a douche canoe. This is the financial security for his ex-wives, the mothers of his children. Ultimately, this is what his kids will get. This is what the women will leave their kids. These kids he shares with them. And Cody considers finalizing this and giving these women their fair share, a favor to hold over their heads, like he is doing these women a favor by settling this so that they can have their financial security in the future for their children. Cody seems very fucking confused. As he and Goblin live in a home paid for off of the backs of Mary and Janelle and the family money and the joint family account, not to mention their Vegas home proceeds, Cody now thinks he's doing the women a favor by settling the land and holding their financial security over their heads, as if he's doing them a favor, giving them their fair share of this land, dangling their financial security over their heads, making this as aggravating as possible intentionally in the hopes that they will just capitulate and throw their hands up, and that he will one last time be able to suck them dry. Because Cody, in my opinion, is a greedy, selfish, opportunistic schmuck. Cody claims the women could do the footwork on this. Let's not forget, Mary volunteered and she was ignored. And Janelle says she has offered to help with the property so many times. And it's just a simple process of adding names to titles. And after all this months, it's just so odd to her that it is still unresolved. Cody seems too lazy and inept to even get his head out of his ass. So Mary wonders if she and Janelle should have a conversation with Cody in person in Flagstaff. She wonders if she and Janelle could talk Cody into this, if they even should go try to talk to him in person. But Janelle has wise advice. She doesn't think it would do anything, and she says it will just be the same bullshit. And of course, I think Janelle is right. So Janelle is going to stay in contact with Mary. She's going to help her. She's going to provide the documents, but she isn't sure it's worth it to have a conversation with Cody and Robin. Cody will just twist everything and Robin will emotionally manipulate. There's no point to it. So Mary has nothing to lose. She says she doesn't have relationships that she's worried about losing, and she knows she put money into this, and she insists on getting her share of it. Go, Mary. Get that money. Get your fair share. You fucking deserve it. Now, Janelle still feels emotional frustration, and she wants to walk away sometimes and just say whatever. But she knows she has to fight for what is hers. And she says it's not just about what's right, it's about what is hers. And she knows she has to get this done. Janelle is excited to move forward with her life. And this is the only thing that ties her to Cody. And she knows she has to fight for herself. The mothers of Cody's kids who gave him decades shouldn't have to fight to get what is their fair share. They should be able to trust the father of their kids and the man they gave their best decades to do the right thing, especially after they sacrificed so much for this family. But Cody doesn't give a fuck. Cody has no consciousness. He only gives a fuck about himself. In my opinion, Cody knows how to manipulate these women. Janelle is already sometimes at a point where she is so frustrated she wishes she could just walk away. But she refuses to capitulate. She insists to fight for herself. And now Cody is going to have to pull up his big boy panties and deal with attorneys who aren't going to care about Cody's resentment or his fragile ego. The only thing they are there for is getting Janelle and Mary their fair share, and I am here for it, and I hope we see that on the show. This is what I would love to see on the show. I would love to see the show more focused on the ex-sister wives and how they develop their lives and how they live their lives. Everything else is really just filler bullshit that seems completely out of place on the show. I am so glad Mary and Janelle got lawyers, and I really look forward to hearing more about it and the process. So next up, Christine and David have arrived in Moab, and David is finally seeing the house for the first time. Christine is nervous. She knows David will notice every detail, but she is excited for him to see it. It's beautiful. I really love this house, and David notices everything. He does. He looks for cracks, bad textures. He notices everything. So Christine is on pins and needles waiting to see how David likes it. And David likes the place, and Christine knows this place will be an asset as a woman. She appreciates having this in her name as a woman and to be able to really have financial security. You go, girl. She always wanted to have income, and she wanted to be more effective in that sense. And having this short-term rental achieves that for her. So Christine feels making business decisions like this with David is so easy. They move forward, they get things done. But being married to Cody, it was so different. She remembers in Vegas wanting so bad to have something like this. But there was so much going on with the kids, so she focused there. She always focused on the kids. She thought someone else would do that. And Janelle had a business, Robin had a business, Mary had a business. And at that time, Christine was content with being a mom, with taking care of the kids. She didn't know what she had in store for her was to be a business owner of her own. I love seeing this, and I think it's also great that Christine has her own financial security independent of David. I think it was a very smart move, very empowering for Christine, and she looks so happy and so fulfilled, and I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. So David loves the place. He assures Christine that she did well, and I really love seeing just how supportive David is of Christina. I think it's beautiful. And I also, again, have to say, I love that Christine maintains her own financial security so that, God forbid, if things weren't to work out, whatever, she always has her own back. That is the most empowering thing a woman can do. Back to doom and gloom in Flagstaff. Goblin and her spawn go back to see the picnic tables just so they can have something to film. So the tables are done, and Robin and Cody and the kids are eating hot dogs and s'mores, enjoying the land that they still own for now. So Cody teaches Brianna to chop wood. Ari is playing with dirt and worms. And let's remember, this is the same dirt Truly was warned not to ingest or play with or get on her face or mouth, because this dirt is infested with the prairie plague. Now, Cody wants to paint the tabletops every spring, and Robin points out they might not have the property by then to paint these tables on. Goblin says she keeps wondering every time they're out there if this will be the last time that they'll be out there. She says it's a hard thought, but Cody considers keeping the pond at least. He wants to keep the piece of land with the pond, and Robin doesn't want to discuss it. She says she loves Coyote Pass. She always has, and it's hard to think of letting it go. So Cody explains that he and Robin, the divine soulmates, they haven't synced up on this. They are both in different places. It's in and out. Cody says it's like sometimes he wants to keep the land, sometimes he wants to sell it. And Robin knows they need to sell, but occasionally, sometimes she wants to keep it. Now, Robin manages Cody. She doesn't want to talk about it, and she lets Cody know now is not the time to talk about it. She doesn't want to discuss it. And, of course, Robin has to let everyone know that she feels sad. She says every time she is at Coyote Pass, her heart just aches, and she sees the division. She has always imagined all of this space and the houses, everyone together, and the patio, and the sister wives, and the grandkids. It's just so sad. I'm sick and tired of this bullshit. Like, seriously, it's enough. It's enough. Now, Cody says if they were to build one home around this spot, that they would have this experience perpetually. They're having this barbecue, eating their processed meat and their s'mores. And Cody's having a lovely time. He wants this forever, perpetually. And he says this spot is literally the last place everybody in their family got together. And they flash back to the first time the family got together after the pandemic on this land. It's really sad. Garrison is in the background, and my heart dropped seeing that, because the last thing we saw from Garrison on the show was him saying that he doesn't need a father, Robin can have him. And he mentioned his home, his new car, his career, all of his accomplishments that most people would never accomplish by 25. And you could tell all he wanted was his dad to approve of, was his dad to say, I am proud of you. I love you. And instead of Cody being sad for Robin's sadness, crying for Robin's sadness, empathizing with Robin's sadness, feeling it deeply, I wish he could feel it for the hurt and the pain he caused to his kids. I wish he would put his energy into fixing those relationships. I wish he would think of his kids and do it now while there's time, instead of filming these bullshit scenes for Sister Wives. Robin's always talking about her sadness. Cody's always talking about Robin's sadness, his anger, her pain, his pain. They never think about the kids. If Cody put any of this energy he puts towards Robin and her kids, towards his own kids, if he puts some empathy into his own kids and the pain he caused them, rather than into empathizing with Robin's sadness, I think that would be best. That's what I would like to see as a viewer of the show, but only if it comes from his heart. Robin goes on with her bullshit, and she says, oh, it's been so difficult and so sad with the family. And Robin says everybody wants out of the pain. You know what? The only pain I empathize with is when I see Cody's kids cry, or the pain and the suffering Cody caused to the mothers of his kids. I don't give a fuck about Robin or how sad this is for her. She isn't the victim here, and even the people who would be considered victims don't pity themselves and act pathetically as victims. They act as survivors. The only people playing the victim here are the victimizers, and it's sick. I've never seen two more distasteful people in my life. So back in Moab, Christine is excited that Janelle could come because they're both starting their own businesses. Their new lives have begun, and Janelle is coming out to check the new house. Janelle explains how she and Christine are very mindful of trying to see each other and of connecting, and Janelle is very excited to see Christine's new home. Janelle felt comfortable enough to just walk in without even knocking, although she mentions she never cared much about knocking. She says there were people in their family who did care a lot. Janelle explains when she first met Cody and they went to Wyoming, it was a very weird culture shock to her that nobody knocked. You just walked into houses. Eventually, Janelle adopted that. Christine wanted everybody to always just come over whenever they wanted. And she says Robin's house wasn't that way. Robin's house had way too many rules. I'm sure it was suffocating as fuck. Robin's house always seems very stifling and suffocating. I will never forget Robin scolding one of Christine's daughters for eating cereal when it was just supposed to be a snack on camera. I thought that was disgusting. Now, Christine says Robin required everyone to knock on her door and wait for someone to answer it. You know, I wouldn't be caught dead at Robin's house. That witch seems super controlling, very inhospitable, and very suffocating, also manipulative as fuck. As a kid, as a 42-year-old adult that I am now, I wouldn't want to be anywhere in her home or around her presence. She could fuck all the way off with all of her bad energy. I seriously doubt that many people like her. Even in her real life, it's really not hard to see why Robin isn't liked by many. Now, Robin says she asked everybody to do an announcement knock because she gets startled when someone is all of a sudden in her space. Christine's kids felt they always had to knock. There were too many rules at Mary's house as well. Mary always preferred a knock as the person was walking in. just in case she wasn't dressed right, whatever, she wasn't prepared. She likes to be prepared. Now, Christine has a crew of family coming to help them move into their Moab house. Aspen and Mitch are there, and Isabel and Peyton and Truly, and David's kids came along. Also, Christine's cousins are there. There are lots of people there. Isabel is helping Peyton and David put something together. And Peyton feels it took Isabel longer to warm up to David because she remembered Cody and Christine's dynamic. And Christine says Isabel worried that David might take over the dad role. But Christine thinks Isabel is still in the process of really warming up to David. So Isabel and David are putting this furniture together, and it was missing pieces in the instructions. And instead of getting angry, instead of getting frustrated, David immediately tried to problem solve. He said he would do it, and he got it done. And Isabel tells Christine if David wasn't David, that whole thing could have gone much differently. In other words, what Isabel was saying is if it were Cody doing it, by now he'd be mean and moody, probably throwing shit, yelling, acting a fool in a pissy mood at this point, like a petulant toddler. Now, Christine says moving with Cody versus David is different. Cody's efficient and he gets stuff done. David is efficient too, he gets stuff done. But Cody would just get in a mode and Christine would let it happen and just do whatever he says when he gets like that, in that mode, in that mood. So they flash back to Cody trying to hang a TV, getting really frustrated, not finding what he needed after going to 4 separate homes and then resolving to buy what he needs at the store. So he gets back to Janelle's house to hang this TV, and the pieces are right there in front of his face. So Janelle says with construction projects, Cody winged it. There were always a couple extra pieces left around, but if it was solid, you know he did okay. He wasn't one for instructions. So Cody had gone to the hardware store when the whole time the shit he needed to hang the TV was right there in front of his face. And because he was so manic and frantic and pissy and in a mood, he missed it and he spinned his wheels all day long, making more work than he needed to all day. David has missing pieces and he just stays calm and he makes it work with what he has without making Christine or the people around him walk on eggshells at the mercy of his frustration, the way that Cody does. So it just shows you the different characters of the two men. So they flash back to Christine helping Janelle put together furniture in Flagstaff. And Janelle says she will be Christine's beautiful assistant. Janelle explains to Savannah that that's a joke. They make that joke about Cody because Cody would always need a beautiful assistant to do anything. And Christine says when Cody would do things, when he got intense, she would just start messing with him, criticizing what he was doing. She would tell him things like, I don't think it's supposed to be like that, just to set Cody off. And of course, Cody was already frustrated and he would get more frustrated. So David includes Christine more. It's more fun. It's much less stress. And Janelle says Christine and David, they have a playful relationship and she knows Christine always wanted that, but Cody wasn't always available. He didn't want to be where David is, fully into what Christine wants to do. So Christine says she and Janelle are closer now than ever. And when she told the adults she was leaving Cody, Janelle started to cry. And at that point, Christine realized that this was going to impact everybody more than she realized. So Janelle came over after Christine announced that she was leaving Cody. She wanted to talk to Christine. She wanted to know what's going on and where her relationship was with Christine. And Christine says they both realized that they wanted each other in their lives and it became a choice to stay connected. Janelle feels without the drama of being married to the same man, a lot of the conflict went away. And she and Christine both retained a lot in common. So Janelle wants to celebrate the land with Maddie and she wants Christine to be there. And Christine acknowledges her buying this home in Moab as well. Janelle getting this 165 acres with Maddie and Caleb. Both of these things are marks of their independence in their new lives. And both these women agree they should be celebrated. So Janelle is amazed at her accomplishments, at Christine's accomplishments. And she feels when you take the committee and the bureaucracy out of it, it's amazing what can happen. Christine recalls that they would have these business meetings as a plural family, and they would try and figure out another stream of income for the family. And then the show flashes back to My Sister Wives closet meetings as if we haven't seen them 10 million times. So in this particular meeting, Christine had a logo t-shirt idea for My Sister Wives closet, and Christine didn't like the idea. He was very rude and cruel, and he called Christine's shirts frumpy marketing pieces. So Janelle mentions how she found a supplier for aprons, and Cody thinks that's a good idea. So Christine says her safest role was being a mom. She had blinders on where she felt that was the only potential that she had, was just being a mom. And I'm sure it didn't help that Cody didn't build her up. Instead, he made her feel down. He made her feel like nothing was good enough. He made her feel like she didn't matter. He made her feel like she was incapable. Instead of building Christine's confidence in herself and empowering her, he put Christine down. Then Christine had Isabel's surgery and doing it alone. And she realized how independent she could be, that she didn't need Cody. Christine explains that the doctors were shocked that Cody wasn't coming to Isabel's surgery. Christine says she didn't need Cody, but Isabel did. And of course, how can we forget Isabel sobbing, her feelings hurt because her father couldn't show up. Her father didn't find her to be important enough to show up to her major surgery. Cody missed Isabel's major surgery, in my opinion, because he couldn't be away from Robin or her kids for more than a few days. Because Robin says when he's away for too long, her kids get anxious. So would Robin ever tolerate for Cody to miss one of her kids' major surgeries, regardless of how long he wasn't around at his other wives' and kids' houses? Would she ever allow Cody to say, fuck that, I'm not going to this major surgery, it's too inconvenient and COVID blah, 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 if it was for one of her kids? Isabel needed her father, and her father chose himself. Her father chose his own convenience and Robin and her kids over Isabel's major surgery. Imagine how that felt for Isabel. We saw Isabel suffer. We saw her tears. We saw her pain. We saw her heartbreak. And she will probably remember that for the rest of her life. Imagine if, like Cody suggested with Isabel, if he initially suggested to Aurora or Brianna to fly alone to New Jersey during the pandemic to have this major surgery alone. Think of the death stare Robin would have given Cody if he had suggested that to one of her kids. Think of the punishment she would make him pay for suggesting something so stupid and mindless to one of his kids. I think the hurt Cody caused Isabel was enough for Christine to say, I can't stand this man anymore. It's hurting the kids now. They deserve better. Adios. Adios. Vaya con Dios, motherfucker. Now, Christine says she learned how to be self-reliant. She began to grow after handling Isabel's surgery alone. And Janelle says she never felt like she had much control over money. She says everybody was pulling from the same account. Yes, the joint family account. And she says they set the family up that way, but towards the end, it was really hard. Janelle explains that when they all first started out together, they weighed in on what bills should be paid, how they would be paid, who got priority. And then the last several years, Cody would just take out funds willy-nilly whenever he wanted. She doesn't know what those funds were for. The money was just being spent and lots of it. And that is the joint family account. That isn't Cody and Robin's private joint account amongst each other that they both contribute to. This is the joint family account that Mary and Janelle also contribute to, and Cody was just taking out lots of money and spending it like crazy. Now, Cody says he was a father to 18 and a husband to more than just Janelle. He says he had a lot of places that money needed to go that weren't always Janelle's business. If her money is paying for part of it, it's her business. Now, Cody says Janelle did the bookkeeping, so for some of the bills to be paid by all of them, those bills, some of them were supposed to be paid by her, just by her. Now, Cody should fuck off. Janelle was the primary breadwinner. His income and the sister wives' income supplemented what she brought in, what she sacrificed for the family. Janelle would sacrifice her paycheck for decades for the family, and Cody controlled where all the money went, where everything was spent. Janelle did the bookkeeping, but she had no control over where the money went, who got what. Cody controlled where all the money was spent. Cody controlled where everything was spent. Janelle just did the bookkeeping and submitted the numbers to the accountant, but she had no control. All she did was record all the transactions. And it seems like Cody took care of himself and Robin and her kids much differently than he did with the rest of the family. And he somehow now seems to want to minimize and disregard Janelle's sacrifice for this family. He's the shady one, not Janelle. And I'm sure it's a slap in the face to Janelle, the mother of his kids, who sacrificed all this over the years for the larger family, for Cody to try to twist shit now when he knows he's the fucking greedy fuckhead. In my opinion, Cody regarded Janelle as a money tree. Cody was an opportunistic, greedy, egotistical shyster who prioritized himself. A lot of the money probably went to Robin's home, to Robin's nanny, to Robin's kids, to the fine artwork, to all of that expensive, heavy equipment that's just sitting on the land, wasting away for all of his failed businesses. That's just rusting away on the land. Janelle says that Cody loves this mantra that somehow she was the all-powerful one with all of the financial control. Janelle says she really was just the person who recorded the transactions and sent them to the CPA. Use common sense with how intelligent and financially savvy Janelle is. If Janelle had control of all the finances, would she really be in this situation now that we're seeing? I don't fucking think so. Now, Cody needs to come up with better narratives. Maybe all that Goldilocks bleach he uses is settling into his brain. I don't fucking know, but he needs to try to use his brain to think. It might be too inconvenient with the one brain cell he's got left. Stop with the bleach, man. That shit has got to be affecting his brain. Christine really likes the way their family looks now. She and Janelle and David with all of their kids together, and then Robin and Cody and their kids. Christine isn't sure what Mary will do or where Mary fits in, but that's what it looks like now for Christine. And she loves her idea coming to fruition, and it really boosted her confidence. Janelle wishes this for every woman, especially a woman who has gone through a divorce at 50, to be able to have your own business, to be able to have your own thing. Christine says this isn't just about the short-term rental. It's about independence. She always hoped to build something great, and she knows she can, and she has. I firmly believe whether you're in a relationship or not, whether your partner can take care of you or not financially, you should always maintain the ability to financially take care of yourself so that you're never reliant on someone else should you decide it's not the right situation for you. You should always be financially independent no matter what. I agree with Christine, and I think what she's accomplished is fucking awesome. Amazing. Amazing. And I can't wait to see Janelle's flower farm. I'm stoked to see it. I really love Christine being empowered, and I love her message to women. So back to doom and gloom. Cody wants to philosophize as Robin is ready to make hot dogs. She's annoyed AF, and she even says aloud, "Oh God." She wants Cody to zip it and shut his mouth. Cody tells Robin she believed they probably couldn't afford to just keep one of the properties. And Robin says they could afford it, but they wouldn't be able to afford the other things they need to be able to afford. So Cody says he and Robin need the investment capital as well, but he considers maybe that they can keep that one, the one with the pond, and then maybe they can pay Janelle and Mary their 25% of it. Cody has this idea that he keeps going back and forth on with Robin. Robin feels at this point that it feels like maybe letting the land go is the best, but she says it doesn't feel like the best. Every time Cody starts making plans for this place, he gets frustrated remembering that they have to sell it. And right now, he's enjoying the magical moments with Robin and her kids. Cody says it's a special place that was meant to be more special, and now it has a lot of pain, And Cody just doesn't know what to do with it. But in this moment, with Goblin and her spawn there, eating processed meat, having this great time, he doesn't think about the bad. He doesn't think about the pain. He thinks about how cool it would be to do this all the time. I don't give a fuck what Cody does as long as he pays back Mary and Janelle. Now, Cody says in the past 2 years, the only memories on this property are with himself and Robin and their kids, and they're good memories. And in this moment, Cody is back to that place again, and he just doesn't want to sell it. Well, then he better be able to pay Mary and Janelle their 25% each. Cody says he is also knowing that Mary and Janelle want to sell it. Listen, Mary and Janelle don't give a fuck what Cody does with the land as long as they each get their 25%. That's all they give a fuck about. Cody knows it's not fair to Mary and Janelle, and he says that's not his intention to be unfair. Yeah, let's not forget an episode ago, Cody was saying he does have thoughts of really shafting Janelle, but then he knows Robin told him he has to do the right thing. But it's not his intention to be unfair. Cody says his intention is just to not deal with it. Of course, he doesn't want to be inconvenienced. He wants to bury his head in the sand and hope it goes away. In my opinion, Cody's intention is to intentionally bury his head in the sand to avoid the inconvenience, to hold out for as long as possible, to hold Mary and Janelle's financial security over their heads, to stretch out the last thing holding them till they can move forward for as long as possible in the hopes that they will just capitulate to what he wants to do and accept whatever crumbs he gives them. Wait till he deals with the lawyers. Next, Goblin points out how smart Aurora is for bringing tongs to cook over an open flame. And as Aurora points out that she has her mom skills, Aurora says she and Brianna are fortunate to have Saul and Ari as mom school apprentices. And Cody asks Aurora if that ever makes her not want to have kids. She says she does want to have kids, but she wants to be smart about how many kids she has. Well, don't put the cart before the horse. Find a guy who can tolerate you first. Fuck. Cody says they talked to the girls about relationships and they are now talking about kids. He asks them if they want kids, and of course, Aurora and Brianna want kids. Cody asks if having a big family has ever turned her off of the idea of wanting kids. Aurora doesn't want a big family, but she says she might want 3 to 5 kids. Now, to Cody, he says a normally sized family would be about 6 kids. But the interesting thing he says is that a normal sized family technically is really a family of 4. 4.5 including mom and dad. Robin looks very forward to more grandkids and her kids having kids. Brianna wants kids, but she says no more than 4. Robin thinks it's really cool to see her kids grow up enough to really start thinking independently. These two are the opposite of independent. They always seem very afflicted, very emotional. I don't know what the fuck is going on with them, but the last thing I would think is independent when I think of these two. They're 20 and probably above 18, and they act like they're maybe 10 to 15 years old, and they seem like they have that maturity level. Brianna doesn't want to bash on polygamy, but she doesn't think it works. And Robin says her girls are thinking about this, and Robin thinks it's good. She likes this. In my opinion, these guys aren't emotionally stable enough to even date or pick a church by themselves, let alone thinking about becoming mothers. I'm going to be serious and say this. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Robin is a hot mess as a mother. Her parenting style seems suffocating. And I think what she modeled to Aurora and Brianna is toxic as fuck. And they're going to model that same toxicity and emotional instability and those manipulative traits to their kids as well. And I think it's going to be a clusterfuck. The world doesn't need any more goblins. Cody explains that in their family, they had 5 parents and 18 kids. So their ratio was 3.5 kids to 1 parent. And Robin says that's a lot. Cody says everybody gets to choose and the girls will decide for themselves. Oh, thank God Cody isn't giving them permission about how many kids they can use their wombs to have. That's their choice. Their wombs are their business. Cody doesn't get a fucking say. What the fuck? Thankfully, he feels they get to decide for themselves. Cody is as mixed about how many kids they should have as he is about this property and what to do with it. Cody says he feels the magic of Coyote Pass today. He taught Brianna how to chop wood. Ari and Saul are skipping rocks. He says Ariella is a naturalist. Yeah, she's praying in the prairie dog infested dirt. So it's hard for Cody to sell this place. He says he had a good day. He had a precious day. I'm glad Cody made these beautiful memories with Robin's kids. He had this good day, this precious day with the goblin spawn, while his other kids are suffering emotionally because he is absent, because he refuses to be a man and a father and take accountability and stay connected emotionally with all of his kids because it's too inconvenient for him. But let him enjoy his good day and his precious day, moonlighting as Father of the Year for this filming opportunity. What the fuck is this bullshit? Cody says he's frustrated to give the land up and he wants to sell, and then he realizes just how painful that will be. Cody isn't Father of the Year, and while he LARPs as a good father with Robin's kids, his other kids are left with heartbreak. They're left with pain. They're left with emotional turmoil of having a dad who discarded them like a pair of old socks just because it's too inconvenient for him. We see Cody invested in Aurora and Brianna's church, how many kids they'll have, etc. But Cody didn't even take the time to praise and validate Garrison while he could. When Garrison brought his own home, he had his own business, he served his country, he bought a new car, things Cody could never have accomplished by 25. Cody is a bullshit artist. If Cody was really all about his kids, he would invest in all of them equally, and he would knock down the door, taking accountability till all of his kids were willing to listen. It's not just the easy, convenient kids who make Cody feel like the hero who deserve his time and love and validation. And it makes me sick to know Cody and Robin think they can put this clusterfuck of a dog and pony show on TV as if they're the victims who are parents of the year, enjoying their processed meat on Coyote Pass, discussing the number of kids Aurora wants to have, as Garrison was struggling personally and with his mental health, wanting the connection, wanting the love and validation and appreciation from his father when he got crickets, as Cody's sitting there acting as Father of the Year, casually discussing Aurora and Brianna's futures, and the goblin spawn casually skip rocks. Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. I've had enough of their toxic bullshit. Seriously enough. This is a total insult to the viewer's intelligence. That does it for this episode. I'll be back next week with the next episode of Sister Wives. Sister Wives Season 19, Episode 20, For Everything There Is a Season, where Christine and David help Janelle move cross-country, and Janelle has her first shot ever. Also, Cody and Robin shoot a hostage video with Aurora, having a typical goblin-style heart-to-heart with their adult daughter, where she's going to act like a 5-year-old, sob uncontrollably, and get babied as such, even though she's a grown adult woman. Aurora wants to get baptized, and Robin thinks it's a really big deal. I thought she said her kids, her adult daughters, were allowed to think for themselves and do what they thought was best for them spiritually. And I thought Robin said she wasn't going to influence anything. It's crazy to see a 20-something-year-old act like a child. It's crazy how she's always sobbing and emotionally unstable. It's crazy how her parents treat her like she's in elementary school and she welcomes it, and they film this bullshit even though they're emotionally unstable and probably shouldn't be on TV. I haven't seen this scene yet and I'm already creeped out with the preview. It's gross. Okay, guys, that's it for today. Thanks for listening. I'll see you soon. Bye.